Here we are. Okay. Hello, everybody. Hey, Bhava babes.
Hey.
Here we are. Ian, Marilyn, and Linda. Hey, everybody. If you're watching live, do us a favor. Leave a comment because we can't see who's here. So you have to tell us so that we can send you love and appreciation. We're back. Bhava's back. I was like, I just need a couple of weeks because I have this idea for a Bhava revamp, and then I was gone for like 2 months. I'm sorry. So hey, everybody, welcome to the Bhava Spiritual Mission broadcast. My name is Ingrid H. Turner. We've got our beautiful Ian Tran. We've got our beautiful Marilyn. We've got our beautiful Linda here. So if you're new to the Bhava Spiritual Mission, welcome. We are so happy to have you. The Bhava Spiritual Mission is a digital church. We are truly non-denominational. We have all walks of life in our community. Our mission is to help you tap into your intuitive gifts and strengthen and own your authenticity so you can bring your spiritual gifts out into the world and be a part in changing, raising the frequency, changing the consciousness of the planet. We believe that the new earth is here. We are freaking here for it. It's all about moving from fear to love. And who you're looking at now is our core leadership team at the Bhava Spiritual Mission. We are here to bring out that message of love and connection and unity and community. And we thought, let's just get on there and do this all together instead of doing like sort of one little piece at a time. So that's why we're here. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining in. My name is Ingrid H. Turner. I'm the founder of the Bhava Spiritual Mission. We started our mission in 2017, and I have collected the best of the best of the best as we have gone along. And our team is here running the show together as of 2023. And I'm a psychic medium. I'm a minister. I am a teacher at the Bhava Spiritual Mission for our certification and ordination programs. And let's just go around real quick and do introductions because most of these people are kind of probably going to be new to you. So Ian, let's start with you, my love.
Hi, I think some people know me. My name's Ian. I am part of the Bhava Spiritual Mission. I guess Ingrid gave me its title of spiritual architect, so I kind of like that.
It fit. Awesome, thanks, Ian. I'm so glad you're here. We're going to get more into juicy stuff about individuals today. So, okay, that was fine. Linda, my love.
Well, my name is Linda, and I've been a part of Bhava now, I guess, for a couple of years. I'm probably longer than that, but probably
longer.
3 or 4 years now, and yeah. I know we're going to get into our intro.
Yeah, we're going to get into it. So, okay, awesome. Thank you, Linda. So glad you're here. And Marilyn.
Hi, my name is Marilyn, and I've been part of Bhava Spiritual Mission for a few years now as well. And it has just really expanded my relationship that I have always had with God. And I'm just really happy to be here.
Awesome. I'm so happy you all are here today. Thank you so much. So we're going to get into I think Marilyn coined it. She said origin stories. We were talking about all the things we want to talk about, on the Bhava broadcast. She said we should talk about our origin stories. And I thought that would be a great way to kick off our new broadcast. So by origin stories, we mean, yes, the villain's origin story. That's all of us, right? Superhero villain, you be the judge. So we're going to talk about kind of like our intuitive gifts and our spiritual gifts and how they showed up for us throughout our lifetime and how we made our way into fully living in partnership with spirit and living out our gifts in like as a full-time gig. Before we do that, what we really like to do at the Bhava Spiritual Mission is ground in. So if you're familiar with me and my work and you come to my broadcast, I'm always doing a grounding meditation, right? I'm always grounding us in. So what we'd like to do is before we get into the where the hell did we come from? How the hell did we get here? And what the hell are we doing now? And all of that. And this fun discussion and answering your questions and doing readings later on the broadcast. Let's all take a few minutes and just take a deep breath and go into a grounding meditation. This time, however, I have our very prettily recorded grounding meditation that I can play for you instead of having to listen to my voice over and over and over again. So let me go ahead and throw that up on the screen. Let's ground in together. Do this grounding meditation. Do yourself a favor. And then let us know how it makes you feel, how it impacts you. All right, so let's go ahead and do this together. Here we go. Begin by finding a comfortable position. You can stay seated or lay down on your back. Take 3 deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. Feel the energy begin to pool in your root chakra. Maybe it'll feel warm or tingly, or you'll just be aware that it's happening. On your next inhale, take a deep breath in and pull the energy from your root into your heart. Exhale and hold the energy in your heart. Inhale and pull the energy from your heart into your crown. Exhale and hold the energy in your crown. Inhale and pull the energy out of your body. Feel it connect with divine source energy. And with the out breath, pull that energy back into your body and into your heart. Breathe in and hold the energy in your heart. Breathe out and pull the energy down to your root. Breathe in and hold the energy in your root. Breathe out and push the energy down your legs and into your feet. Breathe in and hold the energy in your feet. Breathe out and push the energy into the earth. Feel that energy hook in with the earth's core and take a deep breath in and pull it back up towards your feet. Exhale. Inhale and feel the energy hit the soles of your feet and move up your legs and pool again in the root chakra and exhale into your root chakra. Okay, I feel good.
Mm-hmm.
I love that meditation. That was the only thing that got me grounded after my spiritual awakening, which we'll get into at some point. Fun fact, our students always take that meditation and modify it and make it their own. So we actually have like a dozen versions of that grounding meditation within our community that we all use and we lead each other through. It'd actually be really fun to get some of our students to do a high quality recording of their version of the grounding meditation and play it on the broadcast sometime. That'd be really cool.
I love that idea. I mean, just the way that we each have made it our own is,
I know,
really
it's fun.
cool.
Yeah, it's fun. Hey, Michelle. Hey, Mike. Nice to see you on here. Yeah. Hey, if you're watching the live stream, leave a comment. Let us know you're here. And if you're catching us on replay, hit hashtag replay or, whatever cool thing you want to say, I guess. Just let us know that you're here. We can give you some drop of love. Okay. So origin stories. What happened? That's the question. What happened? Like, what were you born into? The first thing that I think is one of the things I think is really interesting. And I always like to hear about this when I was opening up to my psychic gifts was like, when did you, like, what was it like for you in childhood? Like, what kind of clues can I look for in my past that will tell me that I'm psychic or I have spiritual gifts? Right. So for me, for example, like, I'm so sensitive. Like I was a crier. I have a friend, one of my best friends. He's very sensitive as well, very empathic. And he goes, "Yeah, I was a recreational crier." I was like, "That's it. I was a recreational crier."
I love that.
That was something. And as I came into my gifts and learned about being an empath and clairsentient, I'm like, because it wasn't mine, so much of it, but I didn't know that at the time. Like we don't know. We didn't. Nobody. We were not born into a time where we were taught about this. So what do you think? What are some of the clues that you had growing up? How about you, Marilyn? Does anything come to mind?
Oh yeah. When I was young, my mom, like real young, like 2 years old, I would always go right to the bookcase and pull out the Bible stories, flip open to Jesus and call him daddy. I'd be like, there's dad, there's my
Daddy
dad.
Jesus.
Dad, daddy, like always just being very drawn to it. And gosh, I must have been 6 or 7 years old. And there was something pretty traumatic happening in my house at the time. And I was in my sister's room just crying and holding her. And disembodied Jesus showed up in the window and laid over a blanket of protection over us. And it was as real as you and I, like just fully present. And I've never felt such deep peace in my life. And those are just 2 of the stories. I've got more.
Yeah, well, good. We'll get into it. That's just beautiful. Yeah. Jesus is a powerful figure. Powerful figure. I'm not going to go off on a Jesus tangent right now. We're going to stay on track. We are. How about you, Ian? What came up for you as a kid?
In my childhood, nothing really. Yeah, I was, typical childhood. Well, being the youngest of a big family, I was just, I was kind of a little bit left out sometimes because all the other kids would go off and play on their own. So I had a little bit alone time trying to figure out what's going on. So I don't know, maybe just being able to talk to myself through things. So yeah, my spiritual gifts didn't bloom until a lot later. So
Really? Like when later? Like 30s? Like
yeah, well, so after, I don't know if you want to get into it now, but yeah, after everything, my whole life fell apart.
oh yeah, that's so often when it happens.
Yeah.
Everything whoosh, oh look, I see God now.
Yeah. So I don't know, did you want to get into it later or now? Or?
Yeah, well, we'll get into more details about that, about your life falling apart. That's going to be a good story. It's always a good story hearing about people's lives fall apart because I don't know, humans are so dramatic. We're so into like, oh, and then what happened? Oh my God, right? How about you? Let's just bounce over. How about you, Linda? What are some things that you experienced in childhood?
Well, it was nothing like Maryland, but I had this swing set in my backyard in the house we grew up in, and every time something went wrong in my life, I would go out there, sit on the swing, and I would talk to my papa, who was my mom's dad, and I would just tell him my woes and what was going on. And sometimes I sang to him, sometimes it was, and it wasn't until I did your mediumship class and realized he's one of my spirit guides. So I guess he's always been in my life, and I didn't know until many years later, probably in my 40s, that the swing set was something he actually purchased for me.
Wow.
For my connection to him, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. When we did the mediumship course, and we were in the room, and he was the first person through the door to come and greet me. And so it was like,
he was excited, right?
Yeah. He's like, okay, you're finally here.
Yes. Hey, Linda, your audio is a little bit hard to hear you. Oh. If you pop down on your screen, hit the settings tab, the settings button, you'll be able to find your audio, and just make sure that with the pull down that your mic is selected.
Oh, okay.
So see if that'll do it. Just make sure. Yeah, I have this. I remember after so as a kid, one of the things that I experienced all the time was every time I closed my eyes, I saw faces. And I always had faces popping into my head. I had other people's voices in my head. I would actually feel like my life was being narrated inside my head in third person. It was weird. Like I remember this period of my childhood where my thoughts were in third person. I'm not 100% sure what that means, but it was odd. And then I remember when I was shortly after my father passed away. So my father passed away when I was a child, and shortly after he passed away, I can remember laying in bed just crying my eyes out at night. It was really late, no one was up, and I just was processing, grief. And I was laying on my stomach, right, like that. And I felt this hand move up and down my back. like in this really sweet, caring way. And I knew immediately, no doubt in my mind, that that was my father. And that's when I was like, okay, I believe in this stuff, you know. So like 12, 13 years old, I'm like, okay, that settles it for me. That experience right there, because I could physically feel the hand on my body of the spirit of my father coming to comfort me when I was really sad. It was powerful. So I know what you mean, Marilyn. It's like those physical experiences, they happen.
Yeah, I had
Mostly,
another
though,
one.
lots in my mind. Like lots in my mind's eye. Yeah, what's your other, what give us another one?
I was just going to say I had another one about that age. It was probably like 13 or 14. And, you know, you reminded me that when I was a kid, I was always drawn to churches. It didn't, no faith. Like I was like, anyone wanted to bring me to a church since I was like, my mom said like 3 or 4 years old, I would want to walk in every church I could get into. And I had this ability to stay incredibly present. You know, anytime I was at a church, I felt like I was just like, everything would go in super slow-mo and I would feel these feelings that felt like nothing I could feel otherwise. And I was about 12, 13, and I had come home from like a youth group with a friend. And we were talking about returning to God, so death. And I sat in my bed and I was just like thinking about how incredible it would be to leave my body. And I did. And I left my body. And I remember looking down upon myself and looking up at myself. And I was like, did I just think myself out of my body? And then the second I had that thought, boom, I was back in. And I had maybe 2 or 3 other experiences that year. And the third one, I got scared that I wouldn't be able to get back in, and I haven't been able to do it since.
Wow. Okay, we're gonna work on that. We're gonna work on that, because Ian, you have done some astral travel, leaving the body, playing around too. Do you want to talk about your experiences with that? I mean, we're going off here because this is a new branch we have to explore.
Yeah, I mean that's when I started like thinking about like other otherworldly stuff rather than just the physical stuff. Because well, I had pretty intense dreams, and like I was always asking like, okay, what do we do in the dream world? You know, what is it for, and all that. So I found out about astral projection, just doing like watching videos and doing research and reading, and then I tried some of the techniques, and yeah, if you try hard enough and you keep on doing it, you will astral project. So you will be able to get out of your body. And I did that. And the first time, it was just incredible. It's really weird because you look back at your body, like laying there. It's like, that's me laying there.
Wow.
But
did you
I'm
feel
over
scared,
here,
or did you feel confident about it? You felt fine.
Say that again.
Did you feel scared, or did you feel confident about it?
No, I was so excited because that was my intention.
Yeah.
And then so you if you get scared or too excited, you get pulled back to your body.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's the first times I get pulled back in really fast. But then if you keep on doing it, then you get more calm as you astral project, and when you do that, you can explore the astral plane. So that's really cool.
That's wild. Have you ever astral projected, Linda?
No.
So I've done it accidentally.
Not that I know of.
Yeah, well, so in dreamland, so some of our dreams, when they're really, really vivid, that's astral projecting. So maybe you've had some really vivid dreams.
Well, a friend of mine recently said, she said, oh, I what was it? She said, I dreamt that we were shopping for something. I can't recall exactly what she said, it felt so real. I think we were astro traveling. So maybe I was, and I didn't know it. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, astral projecting, I've done it accidentally. I've never been able to do it intentionally because I get squirrely about that. I'm just like, whoa. But I've done it accidentally. Like in the early days of my spiritual exploration, I would like pop out and go to a new place entirely. Like it was like I was here and then I was completely somewhere else. And what was so striking about it is it was so real. It was so real. It was like it was just like being right here, right now. I was like in that place. And then that would like wig me out. And then I'd fly back into my body now. And I'd be like, That was a lot. So I haven't done a lot of playing with that, but I think that's something that that'll be fun to explore further as we go. Astral projecting, like trance mediumship, where you allow a spirit to come into your body, requires a tremendous amount of faith. You have to really like be able to let go, and that's hard for most people, which is okay. It's a practice, as they say, right? Yeah. So what, aside as what do you feel? I wanted to talk about what happened. Like what happened? Like Ian, you talked about like your life fell apart. What was the event in your life? Most of us have one event that we can think of, I think, that really brought us home to our spirituality and got us on the path that we're on now. Ian, do you want to, since we danced around yours a little bit, talk about your like, what the shit event?
Well, so I grew up Catholic, like going to church every weekend with my parents. So that was ingrained in me. And then, I studied as an engineer, so just regular work and everything. Everything was going great. Had a family, nice house, nice car, all the stuff, right? And then I think the few months. So I just thinking back, the few months leading up to this, I just like driving home from work. It's like, is this all that there is? It's like there's got to be something more.
Oh man! Right? And then the universe came in and went, "All right, let's do this."
Yeah. So it's like I'll show you. Well, shortly after that, the market crashed. So the business I was in, we completely lost our business. Nobody was accepting jobs. So I eventually lost my house. I could keep my car was paid off. But yeah, I ended up just with the belongings of my car. I lost my family too. We got divorced and stuff like that. But and then also on top of all of that, my mom passed away. So my whole world was crumbling to ashes. And then slowly, as I got back on my feet, it like I started like getting messages like I call them breadcrumbs because it's just like spirit just didn't show up at your doorstep. It's these little breadcrumbs it throws at you. So I guess one of them is astral projecting. It's like trying to open you up to a bigger world. And then, at one point, a mutual friend told me to contact Ingrid. So I got a reading with Ingrid, and she started the gears turning, right? And all this time I still had lots of questions, like because my engineering mind is like, this is not right. This doesn't work, because there's no tangible proof. There's no evidence. But then I kept on exploring more and more. It's like, okay, can I change my reality? And then one of the big things was, all right, wouldn't it be cool to, because I would like driving around a lot. And it's like, okay, what it would be like if I hit one of those roadwork signs. And I was just thinking that in my mind. And then it was pretty quick. It was like, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes later after driving around, there was like something in the road. So I had to veer off and go on the shoulder. And guess what was laying on the ground? It was a roadwork sign. I drove right over it.
Oh, Ian.
And it's like, did that just happen? It's like, I thought of that like 10 minutes ago. And that really starts like, okay,
yeah,
my reality is it's malleable. I can change it.
Yeah. And it's been off to the races ever since.
Yeah.
And nowadays, I mean, You just dropped a great bomb in our student group today about channeling in the mind and the body. I mean, like, I've just seen you like go, okay, I'm locking into that. I'm locking in, and that's why that's why I called you the spiritual architect. I was like, I just pulled that, like, spirit gave that to me, like, okay, you just told that story, like, that's why, because reality is malleable. You are the architect of your reality, of your spiritual reality.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. How about you, Linda? What was oh God.
There wasn't really one thing, I think. It just sort of I've always been a seeker, so there was always something that I was looking at, tarot cards, ruins, numerology, I bought a book on psychic gifts and I started doing the meditations and things like that. So,
Mm-hmm.
and then I had a friend introduce me to Ingrid, as did Ian. And I had a reading with her. And then eventually she said, I think you should come and take it. She had a mediumship class. And so I went and I joined that class. And I didn't think that I was going to have any success at it, but I figured it, was worth a try. And eventually I was giving readings and stuff like that. It was kind of surreal.
So cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's my favorite thing in the whole wide world when people are like, I can't do that. I'm like, bet you can. and then they get them doing it and it blows their mind. Because one of my gifts is really being able to identify the gifts that other people have by your, like, feeling into your frequency. I'm like, I know what you can do. So, but people usually don't know that they can do it until they do it. And then it's really, really fun. So that seeking, though, I mean, I resonate with that. I played with tarot cards all my life. I was always like looking at tarot cards and super interested in like spiritual and psychic stuff, but always felt like, even in childhood, even with all of these wild ass experiences that I would have, like, I was 7 years old and I had a visitation from a spirit, like plain as day, wrote a poem from it, right? Immediately discarded it. Oh, that was just, whatever. And so I would go around being really fascinated by psychics and spiritual people and like the tools that they use and thinking, that's not me. I wish I could do that, but there's no way I can do that. Here's the truth. If you're drawn to it, you can do it. There's a reason you're drawn to it. Yeah. How about you, Marilyn? Did you have a breaking? Did you have a spirit going?
That's so funny. I was thinking about it and I was like, well, I've had a lot of crazy things happen in my life, but like Linda, I was always a seeker. So for me, it was very much in the context of like religion and, the Bible. The Bible has always been, still is one of the most attractive pieces of spirit to me. And so I was always chasing that innocence of my youth where I could be so incredibly present. And I come from a very wounded lineage. And so coming up as a child of wounded parents with a lot of wounding, you end up wounded yourself. And so I think that in probably around the time that I had the out of body experiences, I was deep in my victim space and I got deeper and deeper and deeper. So it was like I was always reaching for that next Christian connection to pull myself out. And there's always been breadcrumbs. Like Ian, I think that's a perfect way to describe it. It was like I felt like God was always pursuing me and I was always pursuing God. And we were like missing each other. like no matter how hard I was pursuing and how hard I felt pursued, I just couldn't connect to that same spiritual presence that I had in my youth. And so all of the breadcrumbs led me to, countless Christian retreats and places where I was dismantling all of the wounding. And so I still have a huge love for Christianity and the church, which is fairly rare at our age, for those who grew up in church and in faith, to still look at it like with such a beautiful heart and love for it. But the way that I met Ingrid was through another group, and she was like, I was like, oh, I'm really good with body. Like I now call it a body intuitive because I'm like, oh, I just know things about people's bodies. I can see them walk and I just know exactly what they need. And so I didn't recognize it as a spiritual gifting because my lens, within, my religious upbringing, like I never looked at anything other than, Christian stuff. But I will tell you that the second I met Ingrid, I was like, this feels the same. She reminded me of the way that I felt where I wanted to walk into every church with stained glass windows, that purity of presence that I was like, oh, this is like a God magnet. Like she feels like church to me and the innocence of church to me. And it took me a minute actually to be interested in Bhava because I had to dismantle my structure a bit around being open spiritually to it. And I was like, okay, if it walks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, it's God. If it feels like God, it sounds like God, it's God. And I went to my Bible and just had all of these, and now I know it is channeling, but this download from God of all of the things that we do in Bhava and how I've seen it in all of the purest forms of my pastors and, all of my spiritual leaders that I've always been drawn to. They've been doing this the whole time. They just call it something different. And that for me was, a big piece of my spiritual awakening. And just not a little over a year ago, I had my major cracking open. So I mean, that's a whole story in itself, and I've been talking too long.
Well, you can give us a little summary. What happened?
A little summary. I was diagnosed with cancer, and a month before I was invited to a group to specialize in the natural and metabolic approach to cancer, which I was on paper not necessarily qualified for, but I was invited and I was like, I don't know. So I had joined. And so in this process of, and in my education of the metabolic approach to cancer, and more so the spiritual presence that I've had to maintain to keep that vibration of cancer, like the highest, and hand it over to God each and every moment of each and every day. I am cancer free. So
yes.
And there have been a lot of, I wouldn't have made it without all the tools that I learned in Bhava. Everything I learned in Bhava is the things I always knew had to exist that I never learned in Christianity. But they're all of God's gifts.
They are. And I think there's somewhere in all religions, buried in all religions, the challenge with big religious groups, the way I see it. I've actually never been part of a major religion, so if I'm wrong, feel free to point that out to me. But the way that I feel is like, so Paramahansa Yogananda, I think this is a quote from Paramahansa Yogananda. He said it really well. He said, spirituality is the crown chakra, right? Religion is the root chakra. And what that means is the root chakra is about safety, security, and community, right? That's okay. The two can coexist. But when you begin to replace the crown with the root and start to identify with a practice or over-identify, I should say, with a practice or with a dogma, then you lose access to spirit, you lose connection to spirit, and then things can get corrupt really quickly. But, Marilyn, like you, I've actually always really been drawn to Jesus and to Christianity. Now, every time I've gotten too close to it, I went, oh, no. I'm not actually going all the way in. But I also love to go to churches. Like I will have, if somebody invites me to go to church, I'm there, I'm in, great, because I can feel the presence. Absolutely. When all those people, I don't care what the religion is or what, it's like when people are gathering together, they're there with God. And you can feel that in a room full of spiritual people, no matter what the dressing is, no matter what the packaging is, you can absolutely feel that. And that's something that I think is so incredibly powerful and unique about the Bhava Spiritual Mission. We're a church. We're structured as a church because that makes logical sense, right? No other reason. So that's just logical, right? So we're structured as a church, but we really have all walks of life in our community. We've got Marilyn, who is very resonant with Christianity. And I think, what do you call yourself? Christian plus?
Yes,
I love that.
I
I
do.
love it so much, right? So you're a Christian. That's great. And we have New Age. We have had pagan. We've had, like we had a student who was, very into the Norse gods and Norse mythology, and he brought all of his Norse lineage in, and it was great. We had a great time with it. But we all connect on faith. And what you said earlier was like really just made my heart just go, oh my gosh, when you said it felt like Ingrid felt like church. That's amazing. Thank you for those words. That was incredible. But it's because all of us from our different backgrounds and our different faiths and our different spiritual expressions, and all of us seek out other spiritual paths as well. And then I used to say to her, that's fine, just bring it back to Bhava, please, so we can all benefit from that, right? But we're all connecting on this thread of faith, which is what it's supposed to be, is that thread of faith. And if you're connecting on that thread of faith, not on the packaging or the expression, then you're going to connect with anybody and everybody on the planet from the heart space, no matter what path you're choosing to make your way back to the divine. All paths lead home, every single one of them. So yum. But that's really great. We know what brought Marilyn to Bhava. That's really cool. Thank you for sharing that. That's really yummy. Ian or Linda, do either of you have anything you want to share on that front?
Yeah. I guess my religion experience is kind of like opposite of Marilyn's a little bit, but it's a good thing because since my mind it always tends to like prove, right? Prove to me there's a God. Prove to me there's miracles and all that stuff, right? Well, obviously the church, just says just says those things. You can't prove it. So going to church is like, okay, that's great, but where's the proof? Which kind of like put me closer to find the answer, because I knew where not to look, right? So connecting with Ingrid, and then she was just telling me to like do these practices, meditate, and and opened up my curiosity, and then suddenly, and the breadcrumbs, all those little things, and then when you put them all together, it's like it starts to you make your connection to God or spirit that way, and then as you strengthen that connection, it gets clearer and clearer and clearer on what the messages that come through and why the things are the way they are, and then you make sense of it. So I guess that's what I would add.
I like how you said you had the opposite experience as Marilyn, like yet you both ended up in the same place.
Yeah.
It's like what we were saying about all roads leading, right, where they need to. And a lot of people who come into Bhava have religious trauma. They have very hard time in their religious upbringing. I was raised a good pagan girl. We were like anti-Jesus in my household. So like for me, my interest in Jesus was taboo. Like I kind of like hid it for a while. Like I didn't want my parents to know, because they were like, because my mom was raised Catholic, and so she went like you did, Ian, like, oh, we're going the other direction. And my father had that kind of relationship, that experience with religion as well. So it's pretty common, and I think it's why a lot of people can be drawn to an organization like Bhava. But we don't play in it's all okay, that's bad and this is good. Right? That's wrong and this is right. We just don't do that in Bhava. It's like, what's your experience? Okay, there's truth in that experience. Now let's clean up that experience. I just see this vision of like shining a window, let's clean the window, right? And then everybody ends up where they need to end up, because the truth is it's not out there. It's not this expression or that expression. It's all right here. It's all right here. God's right here. Beautiful. Did you have a religious upbringing, Linda?
I did.
How was it? How'd you do? You okay?
Well, I was raised Catholic.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, I went to an all-girls Catholic high school.
Wow.
Run by nuns.
Wow.
So yeah, It was actually my grade 11 religion teacher that turned me off of religion because it was a world religion class where we were studying the religions, all the different religions. So Judaism, Buddhism, all of them. And just the way he would speak so negatively about other religions. And when questioned about it, he just basically wanted us to understand, just accept that Catholicism was the best. And but you know that when you're learning about all the different religions, there's a common thread there. And it's like, well, why can't we just be accepting of all of it? Like, I don't understand. And I think that's one of the reasons why I was so drawn to Bhava, because we're like a tapestry of all the different all the different walks of life, and now we can all be accepted in one place, and
Yeah.
it's awesome.
It is awesome. You know, I've never encountered a community like Bhava anywhere out in the world. I don't think any of us have. And I'd like to say that's why I created it. But to be honest with you, I had no idea what I was creating when I created it. You know how Bhava came about? I was sitting there minding my own business, and my spirit guide Mons comes in and says, "Ingrid, you need to start a church." I said, "Absolutely not." Like, nope, I'm not doing that. No. And then spirit guide went away, and I was like, okay, cleared that right up. I put my foot down. I laid a boundary. We are not starting any churches, right? So I, and then a day or two later, spirit came in again and said, "Ingrid, you need to start a church. You're going to teach people how to do what you do, and you need to protect them." And I went, protect them? So I went Googling, right? I was like, what, you know, because what does that mean? I looked at like ordained ministers and protections and stuff, and I saw like that ordained ministers have so much protection out in the world when they're doing their spiritual work. And I was like, that's logical. It makes sense. I guess I'm starting a church. So I did. So I started this church because I felt that I got a message from spirit to start teaching what I was doing. And at the time, I was doing a lot of psychic work. You know, I was just really trying to be a psychic medium. And spirit said, "Okay, now go teach it." And so I did. And I think it's my Jupiter and Moon opposition that will sometimes give me the impression that I'm capable of doing things I'm not qualified to do. So I was like, I can do this. Well, guess what? Fortunately, I can do it. It's a real gift of mine to be able to teach intuition and help people bring out their intuition. So I discovered that pretty quickly. Otherwise, I would have fallen on my face. But I got better and better and better at it, and brought in more and more and more people like in this core group. And so that's why I started the Bhava Spiritual Mission. That's why it's formed as a church, because we are on the bleeding edge here with our spiritual work. And it's not just about protecting any old buddy who comes through the door. I mean, we have an application process. You know, we don't accept everybody. It's like, it's got to be a good fit. It's got to be a right fit. But that's all I knew when I was starting the Bhava Spiritual Mission. I'm like, okay, we're gonna figure out how to protect people as they go out and do their spiritual work. And it turned into this. So I don't get to take credit for what we have created here, because we created it. You know, all I did was go, all right, I guess I'll do what I'm told, even though, like, that's weird. Like, why are you asking me to do that? So that's how that came to be. But it's really like everybody who comes into the Bhava Spiritual Mission adds this really unique piece of magic, even if they don't stay forever. You know, they add a piece of magic that just permeates out into the collective. And the other thing I love about our community is we're all over the world. Linda's in Canada. Ian, you're in Minnesota. Maryland's in California. I'm all over the place. I'm traveling around. But we are taking this energy and bringing it out into the world, right? Instead of closing ranks and just being like, ours, we like this and we're not sharing. We're bringing it out. And it's really cool. And I love to see everybody doing that. Yeah. So what's next, folks? What do you feel like as you tune in and tap in? What do you feel like is your sort of like the essence of your calling? And what it is you're here, your work for, Divine Spirit? I got a really clear answer to that not too long ago. And I talked to each of you about it. I saw a comment and I was like, there's my message. It's really about whoever comes through my door, so to speak, that needs it. Like, I'm here to move out of the way and let spirit move through me to work with that person, those people, whatever it is. I can do whatever I want in the meantime, but like when I'm not bid, but boom, like there's a real mission here. And Bhava is a container for that mission for spiritual work with people. Do you guys feel like that resonates with you? How would you put that into your own words? What do you think, Marilyn?
Yeah. So probably about 6 years ago, I bought a website called mindbodyandgod.com. I have since lost it, and now it's like mindbodyandgod.love. I think it is.
Love
now.
is good.
Or life. Not really sure, but I haven't gone off and rebuilt my website because I was like, I am called to heal people's bodies and their souls through the process of learning to re-love themselves. And at that time, it was through movement. Mm-hmm. And it has expanded to holistic health. And just in my journey over this last year, the metabolic approach to cancer, but one of the biggest pillars of the metabolic approach to cancer, they call it the it piece. And the it piece is the soul, is the spiritual practice. It's the healing. It's all of those things. And they said, you could do all of this clinical work. And if you don't approach this it factor and you don't create that relationship with your client, they will not heal. And to me, hearing this in a medical clinical setting, I'm like, this is what I've always known, is that the spiritually emotional baggage has to be healed. It just has to be healed to live the most optimal life possible.
Absolutely. Yes. And that is just fantastic that is starting to come out in these settings. I mean, this is what we're doing here. We're moving from fear to love. If that's not moving from fear to love, I don't know what is. That's amazing. What about you, Ian? How would you summarize what's next for what now for you?
So I would be, I've been teaching engineering for the last, just like 10 years or so. And then just taking classes with Ingrid and joining Bhava and doing all that. I think being a spiritual teacher, because people it's hard to connect the dots, like from this physical reality to the spiritual. So exactly what Marilyn's talking about is nothing ever happens in the physical if you don't deal with it in the spiritual. Yep. So you have a spiritual body, you have a spiritual connection. Everything happens in your mind. So all that stuff that's going on in your head, it affects your physical reality. And with Bhava, we teach how to like clear all that up. Yes. We have tons and tons of tools to help you through that process. And as you clear up your baggage, your physical life is just going to be a whole much better. It might fall apart a little bit, that's expected. But you have the tools to get right back on your feet. It's really powerful what we're doing. So connect. I don't know. I would say connecting the dots, like between the intangible spiritual stuff to the physical world. Make it practical. Make it useful.
Yeah. Amen. Practical and useful. That's important with spirituality. Otherwise, why? That's so great. Yeah, I love that, Ian. Thank you. What do you think, Linda? What now for you?
Well, I'm at a crossroads right now.
Fair.
So I've been doing a lot of healing from my just what I was doing before, letting go of the stress and letting go of the negativity and all of that. And so I think I'm I'm still in the decision making process of what to do next, But I'm just trying to trust in spirit that it's going to guide me to the right path. And
Totally.
so far, I'm just, I'm embracing Bhava and all that it brings, and I know that it will show up eventually. So I'm just trying to be just really open and ready.
Yeah. And you know, the way to speed up that process is to just do what you love in the meantime.
Yeah.
Just do what makes you happy. So for when I don't know what to do in life, I just start writing a lot of poetry. And I go somewhere new. Like I don't really know what's next. Okay. So I'll just start writing. And then it's not necessarily that those things that I love become the thing that leads me to the thing, but it puffs up the energy. It like expands my aura. It opens me up to be a magnet for, okay, there she is. We got a home in Beacon on her. And then what my next move shows up for me really quickly. So it is all about your passion, being the vehicle through your passion. What do you love to do? So when I was a kid, I used to spend my time out exploring 60 acres of property by myself. I had a backpack with writing supplies, and I was really like wistful and lyrical, and I talked to God, and I wrote poetry. They used to say to me, and my parents used to say to me, Ingrid is out to lunch. Well, I was in spirit land, man. That's what I was doing. And what do I do now? I live in a van and I travel around. I have my writing supplies in my van. I write poetry all the time and I talk to God all the time. I've come full circle and I am happier than I've ever been in my life. So if you want to know what should I do, start with just doing what you've loved in childhood. Come back to that. It won't like poetry doesn't make me tons of money yet. Maybe it will, I'm working on like creating songs and stuff. Who knows? But that it doesn't necessarily have to be like this translates to income or this translates to a job or this it's like you just do the thing that you love and whoosh, 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 it opens up.
I'm not worried about the income or anything like that right now. I mean, I am.
One should never worry about money. The whole universe flows through us, right?
Yeah. So So I'm just trusting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. And that's like, we do that. We were on purpose, on spirit, and then we get to this limbo place. And then there's nothing you can do except just wait. Okay, tell me what's next. And then whoosh, before you know it. That's an opportunity to rest, I think.
Mm-hmm. I've been doing that.
Yeah, baby. I love it. Awesome. Well, does anybody have anything else that they want to add? If we have any questions from from viewers, anything you want to ask us, or anything about spirituality, psychic development, any childhood experiences you had, we're open for any questions that you have. Just leave it in the comments. We'll bring your comment up on the screen and we'll talk about it. And while we're waiting, we'll also do a few readings today. There they are. I have my cards. I found them. I was like, what did I do with them? We'll do some readings today. If anybody wants a reading, you can feel free to leave a donation for your reading. There is a link in the description of the video. You don't have to. Be great if you did. It's a nice little energetic exchange. And we'll do a few. If you leave a donation, we'll prioritize yours, but we'll go ahead and do a few readings today. Just pull a card and just tune in for you. And in the meantime, let me talk a little bit while we're waiting for questions from comments and questions. Let me talk about our Bhava certification program. We are launching a new group November 14th. Okay. It's going to, these groups are absolutely incredible. They are, I'm going to try something. Okay, Marilyn, I just muted you because your mic was making a little noise here. But I'll bring you back on in a minute. The Bhava certification program is a program designed to train you and then certify you in psychic mediumship, channeling, energy healing, and help. But on top of that, in addition to that, it's also a healing container. In order for you, like we've been talking about, in order for us to do our spiritual work in the world, we have to clear out the wreckage of our past, of our conditioning, of our trauma. We have techniques that we put into practice ourselves and we lead our students through that does this very quickly and relatively painlessly. like we have our moments, but it doesn't disrupt your entire life, right? So we are here for the next wave of spiritual leaders. We want to, if you feel like you have a spiritual purpose here and you're having trouble navigating towards it, or you're having trouble identifying or trusting your spiritual gifts, this is an incredible place to help you really excavate and hone in and develop those gifts so that you can absolutely trust them unequivocally, take them out to the world, and be of service through the vehicle of your passion. The new earth is brought in on the backs of the individual. So that's what we're doing. We're working with the individuals. This program is highly tailored to the individual. We have group classes, we have audio lessons, and then we have mentorship programs. Okay, so Ian, Linda, and Marilyn are all mentors inside the Bhava Spiritual Mission, which means you get that one-on-one support as well. It's a killer program, and we're enrolling for a new group starting in November. We have a free information meeting coming up as well that is linked in the description of this video. So if you want to learn more about the program, learn more about the Bhava Spiritual Mission, and meet and interact with the leadership team in a more intimate way, go sign up for that information meeting. It's on the Bhava Spiritual Mission website. You'll see all the information about the program on that page right there, and then you'll have an opportunity to sign up and come chat with us for free. And we love to give free spiritual gifting to the people who come on, and we wait for spirit to guide us on what that is. Might be some channeling, might be some healing, I don't know, might be something really cool. So RSVP, and even if you can't make it live, but you want the information, you can register and I'll send you the audio recording. So go to that page and check us out and see how that feels for you. We would love to chat and connect further if this feels resonant with you. We are excited about this. Okay. Brought Marilyn back. I don't hear it
Is it
anymore.
still making noise? Okay.
Just the tiniest little bit, not like it was.
Okay.
So it's okay.
I unplugged it and replugged it in with hope.
With hope, yes. Okay, we'll get on a Zoom. We'll get on Zoom and we'll play with that because I have the same mic, so I'm sure that we can figure it out. Okay, great. Well, we don't have any questions, and so we're going to go ahead and wrap up with tons and tons and tons of love. Ian, Linda, Marilyn, thank you all so much for coming on today, for joining, and for sharing your stories, sharing your heart, sharing your spirit, creating this incredible container. Thank you, everybody who came in and joined in live and left comments, listened to the stories, listened to the video. We will be back, all four of us, next month, okay? And on Wednesday, 4 Wednesdays from now. And so we're going to do that for now, is get together once a month and just come out and do a broadcast and pick a topic. If you have topic suggestions, leave them in the comments. I'm sure we'll be happy to address that. Any final comments from any of my beautiful Bhava babes on screen? Nope, we're feeling good.
I was just going to say, Bhava's a blessing. If you have question marks, definitely come and be inspired.
Yeah, we're here routinely, regularly. Thank you for that, beautiful Marilyn. Okay, my sweet loves, I adore you all so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day.